All right, some things to quickly fix that I noticed, which will give us problem when displaying the form, is here we are going to make this, where we say the font family is courier. You notice that we have, after that, we're putting background color, which is another feature. So we have to separate this with a semicolon. This one too has to be separated with a semicolon over here, not just a colon, but a semicolon. That's really important because you can see that changes the color from dark blue to light blue. So that can cause a problem when you load the form, it doesn't load well. Something I also noticed is that for the salad options, we put in the salad options, but we never close the tag. So we have to close the select tag. So make sure you do that over here. That's going to be for the salad option. So we have to close that because that ends that drop down. So the next drop down can be used. One more thing to do is I will definitely, because of the spacing, I'm going to just keep this width of the bread type. Okay, I think the width of 200 is going to be too much and it might just disrupt the other placings of these links. So I'm just going to make it 100 pixels for the width instead of 200. So with all those changes in place, let's run this form and let's see how it works. It should be able to display normally. So as in the normal way, because when we displayed it the first time, it wasn't really displaying well. So I'm just going to keep the maximization for the initial parts of the screen here. So it's fixed properly to 100%. So that, of course, because we have to adjust the replit screen. And then once we get to the form, I will reduce it back. So here is 123. So at 100%, it shows the views properly from the beginning. So here's user 123 at. And then of course, click on login, authentication valid, click on next. So this is the filling option. So we've clicked on next. We go to the salad options, click on next, go to the bread type options and sizes, and finally go to the form. So I'm also clicking on next and finally click on next again. And of course, we now go into the form. And the form is the one that we just finished making. So I'm going to zoom this out to an 80%. So I'll just take it back because that really views the form properly at an 80%. Unless you want to put it at 100%, then you have to make some changes as well. So I'm just going to go to an 80% so you can see everything is showing properly now. So if I put on, if I put the customer name, I can put in the name. You see this emoji right there. If I say yes, I could select beef, I could select cucumber, I can select the size and the type of bread. And finally, if I click on confirm order, it's supposed to work. Right now, nothing's working because we haven't worked on the JavaScript for this function yet. Well, for this action to happen. And the home is going to work. Well, it's supposed to take you back to the home. Oh, one more thing is I don't think my home is called home, guys. Please make sure you check that. I feel I named it differently because you see that it takes me to a no found page. I think my home was actually the index page. So that's the one that you please make sure you change to index, not home. So it's actually index for me. So once I click on index, it goes back to this home. So if we run it again, you will see that working. But before we do another run for this, I want us to go to the script for this. So the script that we're going to be creating is obviously connecting this page. We already created a script file that was called script2. So that's what we're connecting. So just add the 2 here as well. And let's go and work on the functionality so we can get to fetch those information from the user. And once the user clicks on confirm order, then the information and the order will be downloaded as a text file to the computer. So the first thing we want to do to the computer, to the system, is we're going to be working on this function. So we're going to be declaring some variables that we're going to be using. One's going to be for the name, and then one's going to be for the salad options, and then we can have for the filling. So we're going to have for the filling, for the standard filling, for the salad options, for the name size. So we definitely need to declare variables for that. So I'm going to create one variable and just call it name. Okay, and then go and declare another one, and I'll go according to the form. So according to the form, if you're not familiar, just go back again to the pictures. We have name, we have standard filling. So I'm going to call this one S filling. That means standard. And then I'm going to create the other variable that's going to represent my extra filling. So I'm just going to call this one E filling, really. So that means extra filling. And then we have another one that's going to represent the salad choice. So I'm just going to call this var salad. And then I'll just call the next one we have for the baguette size, so B size and B type. So I'm just going to call it var B size, as in baguette size. That's what I'm referring to. And then, of course, var as well, B type. Okay. And so now we've declared the variables. The next thing we're going to do is to create the function. So the function actually is going to be what we called it in our order HTML. Remember, we call the function customer order, so it has to take that name. So I'm going to write down customer underscore order. Okay, and then circular brackets, open parenthesis, and go into the function. So the variables that we've created, let's start with the one for the name first. So name is going to be equal to, we're going to use the document, which is the HTML.get element ID by element by ID. That's why we have like IDs for each of those that we created, and we're going to be getting the value of that ID. So if you go back, go to the very beginning, what we're talking about is here we put the ID to be name1, so make sure it's name1, and we're going to get the value, which is what they type in this text box. That's what we mean by getting the value. So this is actually get ID. The name of the ID is actually name1. So we've done that for the name. We're going to go down and do that for the next one, which is the S filling. So we can just say, of course, put the variable that you've declared S filling, then get the document by its ID. Go back again to see what you called this standard filling. It has its ID called standard filling, so you kind of have to use that same one. I'm just going to copy it and then go back and replace it here. It's not S filling, but it's standard filling. You have to make sure you're putting the right ID. Okay, and then the next one we're going to do is going to be for the E filling. That's the extra filling. And also go back and just make sure what the ID was. It was called extra filling. So hence I have extra filling over here as the ID. So I'm getting that value. The next one is for the salad. So go back and make sure what the ID is for the salad. We called it just salad, so we can use the same ID. So just make sure that information is there as well. So we have salad. So we're getting all of those values that the user is going to be typing, all that data the user is going to be typing into the text box or selecting from the drop down. So the B size, what was the ID for that? That was the baguette size. It was just called size, so we kind of have to change that to size, not B size. So make sure you are getting ID by the correct ID name. And then finally, we have the B type, and we're getting it, and the name is just bread type. That was the name of the ID. So here we are gonna write down bread and underscore type. And so we've gotten everything. That's pretty much all of it. Now we need to just create the file. So we create the file that would be the order of the user, right? So the order of the user, I want to name the file according to the user's name .txt, which means text file. So I'm going to create a variable and call this file name. And this is going to be equal to the user's name, which is the name of the person. So I'm using the variable called name, and then I'm going to say plus quotation marks, and this is a txt file, .txt, so that it says the person's name, .txt. So if I entered my name as Alicia, it will just be alicia.txt. That will be the name of the order file for this person, depending on what name it is. So the next thing we're going to do is, now that we've done that, the next thing to do obviously would be, let me see why we have this name is depreciated. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we should change that to name. Let me see if that changes anything really. Yeah, okay, I just changed that to an extra E. For some reason I was having some sort of depreciation message. You can just add an extra E to differentiate this with name, so it's a little bit different. So yeah, that fixes that problem. So now we're going to put the file content. What would the file contain? So file content, and that would basically, all the information we want is for it to say the name. So we're going to say like the name of the person, and then it's going to show the name of the person. Then it's going to say the standard filling. So what did they choose as their S filling? Don't forget we have an S filling here. Then it's going to put in the extra filling, what did they choose as the extra filling, and of course the bread type, and so on. So you have to really just put in the information you want to be displayed in the file, the text file that they are going to download to the system when they finish confirming the order. And so what you notice is I'm putting the name of the person, so I'm going to say name. You can say customer name, and that's going to be the name of the person taking that variable name, and then standard filling will take whatever they put as their standard filling, so that's the S filling. And then of course we have the extra filling, which would be the E filling, and so the /ends means on the next line it's going to be showing in the file. And then we have the salad, which will take the salad variable, as you can see, and then next line, which is the /n. We have the bread size, which would be the B size, /n again, and the bread type, and that's pretty much it. So that would be all for everything that we're going to be having in our, in the file that we're going to be saving. So that's all we need. Now, the next thing we're going to do, obviously, is work on putting that file and just creating the file. So the next thing we'll do is we are going to call this variable my file, and that's going to be equals to new file content file name. So we have to specify that this is a text file. So we're going to say blob and then open parenthesis, and then no, not the circular ones, please open the square ones, and then we'll say it's the file content, but then comma, the type of the file. So it's always a good idea to specify type will be like that, and so it will be a text plain type. So that's like a text file, and that's pretty much it. You just put the circular brackets and you put the semicolon. Identifier expected. So let's see if we needed anything. What sort of identifier is expected here? Let's see. Just checking to see if everything's okay, but we do have an error. So type, and then we're specifying, let me see what that is quickly. So let's do a quick debug. Okay, it says that you should have written it as, yeah, I think I did write it that, didn't I? Blog, and then file type. I think it's the exact same thing, to be honest. New, so var my file equals to new blob, and then we have, oh, yeah, I missed out something. There's actually a circular bracket here. That's true. So that was a good thing to show. There is a circular bracket there, so please make sure you put a circular bracket in the beginning. So that was a good way to debug this error. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've just specified we want to create a text file. So the next thing we do is because this is going to be downloaded to the system, we have to connect this to window.url, kind of like not server, but like a function or a feature that we're going to be connecting this, because when you want to create a link that you're going to download to the system, this obviously is connected to your system. It's downloading on your computer, on your window. So you have to specify saying window.url, and that's equal to window. So this is kind of how you specify URL. And then you put 2 bars here, and then you say window.webkit URL. So that means it will be downloaded to your system. And now we are going to just get the document, the name of the link. Remember the link that we called download, which is actually for the confirm order. So that's when that is clicked on, it's supposed to download the order of the customer. So we're going to create something called a download. We can just call it a button btn. And then we're going to get the download link, the download link, so that the computer can recognize it. And that's the one that we're going to be setting to download to the system. So we are going to come down here, now that we created this variable, and we're going to be setting it as an attribute. So we're going to say button set attribute. So that means that it will be set to do something, in this case to download, and that's just to save it to the computer. So we're going to just do the whole href, and then we're going to say window.url.create object URL, which is my file. So that just basically creates the file to the system. And then we also set the attribute to be the ID that we have, which is the file that's going to be created will obviously be So what you notice is here I added another line, which is called set attribute download. That was the ID of the link. So once they click on it, it will obviously download that file name, which would be this one that we specify the name of the customer.txt. And that's pretty much it for this part. That's all we have to do. And now what I want to do is, remember we said something here where we said return finish this when you click on the home, or when you click on the download. And so that means that we want to keep them on the same page when they click on download or home, but we want to tell them thank you for placing your order. So we are going to make this function, this on click feature work, and put a message with a text, with a text box, not a text box, a window pop-up box. So you'll see what I mean. So at the end here, you're going to create another function, and we're going to say end message. This is what I will call the function. Oh, well, we called it finish, by the way, unless you want to change it from the main screen, that is the page. And then you have to specify what you want to do. So alert means you're going to open a window pop-up box, and I'm going to write the name of the person and then tell the person whenever they click on the confirm order or they click on home, we're going to tell them thank you for shopping with us or placing your order. And that's it, pretty much that's what I'm going to do as my message, and that's all. So it just keeps this alert, and it just shows it as a pop-up window, and that's what you're going to see actually now when we run it. So it should be working okay, unless we have an error pop up somewhere. But when we actually click download now, it should be downloading the particular order of the customer. So I'm going to go back to my screen size of 100%, and just to get that really nice view. So going back to 100%, there it is. I'm going to type in username, user123, and of course I'm going to type in the password as well. So user123 @ and I think I did type it in. Yeah, so now I'm going to go to the next page, and really our objective now is to just make sure that the confirm order is working. Once clicked, it is downloading the text file to the system that contains the customer's order, which can be re-uploaded back here so that the administrator can upload it and view. So essentially in real life, this would be saved in the database file for the shop to be able to have access to all of the orders that are being placed. And of course, from that, the administrators or whoever's in charge will know what the customer's order is. And based on that, they would have it on record. So here I'm going to put in my name. And then I'm going to select my standard filling option. So down here, I'm going to do the selection. I want some standard filling. I want chicken as my extra filling. One cucumber. I'm going to go with a 15 centimeter and a brown bread. Now, once I click on confirm, you see what it says. It says, Alicia, thank you for placing your order. We probably should have just given a space there. If I say okay, you notice that it did a little, blob where it downloaded something from me. It showed a sign. So if you go back to your computer, you should be able to see a file that's downloaded on your downloads. If you double click and open it, all the information is right there. So you see that I have customer name and I have my standard filling. I have the even my emojis are there. So everything I selected is being downloaded. I'm just going to go and re-upload that. So just upload it back here. So click the upload file and then go and select that file that was downloaded and say open. If you do that, you click on it. It's a text file. It actually shows. You see it? So it actually shows here as well. Now, let's try to do another one. I'm going to stay on this page and just put another one, and I'll just put Jones, and I'll select no, I don't want standard filling. I want to go with cheese. Let's see if that, then I'll go lettuce, and I'll go 30 centimeter. Now, when I click it, you see it says Jones, thank you for placing your order. If I say okay, it goes back. Now, let's see if Jones has been downloaded. If I refresh, there it is on my downloads. And if I open it up, so this is Jones' choice, you can see everything's updated properly according to Jones' choice, what he chose. All right. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And let's zoom out a little. There it is. I didn't see the brown bread for some reason. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little. Oh, when you zoom in, it doesn't really show. So anyways, but that's it right there. So the brown bread was right there. And then now if you click on, so everything is working. So the order is being downloaded as we want it. So please go back and upload the second one as well, because you will need it for practice in your last video tutorial, which would be for the administrator or the one coming up. So here's also Jones. It's a text file. So you see that this information does contain information about Jones. So now if I wanted to, I can go back to my home, so to the home screen. So I'm on confirm order, which I've just done as a test and everything works. Now, if we click on home, it says, thank you for placing your order. And then if you say, okay, it takes you back home. So that message has to show for thank you for placing order, unless you don't want it to show. If you don't want it to show, then you go to the order section and you basically just take out this on click part that you don't want to show, and it would not be there. So if you take it out, you will just click on home and it will just take you to home page. So that is going to be the end of this video tutorial. I hope you understood what you were supposed to do, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial, which brings us towards the end of this project.